I'm going to go ahead and say that now is definitely the time to make sure that your calendar for August, that thing is clear. Yo, what's good? It's Ms. Thora. So I'm sure a lot of y'all are already aware at this point, but we got an absolutely massive community update today from Larian Studios in regard to Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I didn't go through everything in detail. I wanted to save most of my initial impressions and reactions for this video to go through with all of y'all together, but I did kind of skim through it, and there was one major thing I saw that made me want to come up on here and make this video today with all of y'all, and that's the brand new release date of Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, we got another release date for this game. I know y'all might be thinking like, hey, Miss Story, you look really happy and cheerful. Why is that? No, most of the time when there's a new release date, that means the game's been pushed back a little bit. That's not the case here. Not in Larian Studios. The new release date is actually closer to where we are now. It's August 3rd, 2023. That Baldur's Gate 3 is now scheduled to come out. I know that's to kind of give them a little bit of a break in between Stargate. You don't want to release that close, your big RPG game, that close to another massive RPG, so it makes sense. If this was any other dev or studio, I'd be concerned that they're trying to rush this game out. But with Larian Studios, man, I've got a lot of faith in these guys personally. I know and trust that they've not made this decision lightly, in that they believe firmly that this game is in a state where it's going to be ready to be released on that August 3rd window, right? So with Larian Studios, I got a lot of trust in them. I understand this move, and at the same time, I'm not worried about it because it's Larian. So with that being said, let's get into all this juicy information proper, and I'm gonna go through it with all of you guys, right? So I'll ignore this little first bit here. It's about that community, that dope community murder mystery they got going on. But in the meantime, it reads, it's time to talk about Baldur's Gate 3, but not as you know it. We're going to go in depth with about a lot of our most anticipated details. That's races, classes, new origins, and companion characters, the official level cap, new difficulty settings, okay, and much, much more. This dope picture of Shadowheart, my boo, I'm ready for you, okay? Baldur's Gate 3 has been a game nearly 6 years of development when Divinity Original Sin 2 was launched. When that game was launched, Larian had 120 people across 3 years of development. Now they're at 400 people in the studio. That's crazy. That's insane. And since releasing early access, we've been joined by nearly 2 million of you guys. Together with your invaluable support, we've created a game that absolutely eclipses in the depth and breadth of our previous RPGs. So, BG3 is bringing 11 races to life with 31 sub-races total. They're going to have 12 classes and 46 subclasses for BG3. There's going to be over 600 spells and actions, excluding upcast in BG3. And lastly, in BG3, we're going to get 308 passive features, which are comparable to talents in the previous game. They ain't kidding. They're not kidding. And this is the part that got me right here, okay? There's a lot more that came from, but this is already going to be a long one. We've been busy, we've grown, and so too is Baldur's Gate 3. Let's get into a little detail about what you can expect to see in the Panel from Hell release showcase, just in time for the release of the game on August 3rd for PC and September 6th for PS5. They wanted to make sure, and you read that right. Hold on now. That's not a typo. You read that right. The game is going to come out on PC August 3rd instead of August 31st, before launching on PS5 a few weeks later on September 6th. Look at that beautiful image. I've never seen a 3 that looks so pretty in my life. That 3 all by itself without another digit next to it is beautiful, ain't it? I love to see it. I love to see it. And I did skim through this part a little bit right here. All this is mentioning is that for PS5, they're targeting that 60 frames per second. It is going to make them a little bit late on that initial August 31st date, but they think that it's worth it instead of rushing out the game for PS5, which means that, hey, they're acknowledging that for PS5, it's not quite ready yet. So that must mean that for PC, they think it is ready. Again, I'm trusting Larian a lot here, right? And just kind of one of the biggest things here, again, I skimmed through this part. Baldur's Gate 3 has more cinematic dialogue than 3 times all the Lord of the Rings novels combined. It has 174 hours of cinematics. That's absolutely nuts, y'all. 174 hours of cinematics, making it more than twice the length of every season of Game of Thrones combined. Son, look here, all right? All that content serves to give you a tremendous amount of choice and consequence. That's what we want ensuring players ensuring that everyone's adventure is going to be unique. And what's more, you'll be able to enjoy that content not only in single player, but also in online multiplayer or local co-op with split screen. At the Panel from Hell release showcase, you're going to get a first glimpse of how all that comes together. And then this bit right here, I think I remember it correctly. Yeah, this is just kind of going into a little bit of detail that, hey, when we're ready to show more stuff about the Xbox release of the game, we will. They just want to make sure that it works and functions amazingly. And now for something a little bit different. New level cap. Unleash your full potential at level 12. I don't know why I always thought the game was going to be level 12, but I guess I was wrong. It says we originally planned for level 10 to be the highest character level in the game. But there's too many rad high-level spells that would have been left just out of reach had we done so. Let's go. Instead, Baldur's Gate 3 players will be able to reach level 12, unlocking planar allies, Otto's irresistible dance, and chain lightning. Ooh, and we got this gorgeous image right here. Gorgeous image. Let's take a look at it. Of a Dragonborn. First time looking at a Dragonborn. Don't he look menacing? I love it. He looks absolutely sick. Races. Okay, you can play as a human if you want to. You can play as a human if you want to, but that by no means means you have to. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to feature 11 races with 31 sub-races, and we can now reveal Dragonborn and half-orcs that will round out the list as playable races. This little bit here, okay, it's just kind of going into detail a little bit on the origins of Dragonborn a little bit. There's going to be, there's going to be 10 sub-races of Dragonborn. That's going to be black, blue, brass, bronze, copper, gold, green, red, silver, and white for the Dragonborn sub-races that are available. That's a lot of sub-races, y'all. Your Draconic Ancestry also is going to include a Dragon Breath. That's dope. And this is going to say turn into the Panel from Hell to see more. There's a half-orc here as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail on these figures, on these races here. But we just know that half-orc and Dragonborn are coming. Half-orc looks absolutely amazing. They're going to be great if you want to make like a melee-based fighter. And here we have a little graphic on all the races. Human, Githyanki, half-orc, no sub-races. Dwarf, elf, drow, and tiefling have sub-races. The drow has the Seldarine drow and the Loth drow. That's based on your allegiance to the spider goddess Loth. And then you got halflings, half elf, gnome, and then Dragonborn down here again with that. Look at the amount of sub-races your boy has. 10 sub-races. That's crazy here. And then new classes and subclasses. They finally revealed. We all knew it was coming, but they revealed that monk class. Just look at that graphic. Boom. Monks are not my thing. I'm not the biggest fan of monks in D&D proper. I never play them, nor have I had interest to, but just how they look in this game is kind of sick. Again, I'm not going to go into details here. And they have cool features such as Step of the Wind. They're really good at having unarmored defense. Monks are your like true martial arts based fighter. They can fight without weapons, unarmed fighting, but they also can fight, as you could see here, with like bow staffs and quarter staffs. They're your traditional, what you think, martial arts mystic energy fighter. That is your monk, and they were revealed here officially. We're going to have the open hand monks that excel at close hand combat. I mean, not close combat with using unarmed attacks. Shadow monks are the stealth ninja types. They can kind of teleport to and from the shadows. And then monks of the four element subclass are pseudocasters. They're casters that unleash monk variants of spells and then can also follow up with a punch as well. And now let's take a look at this graphic right here. This is the graphic we got finally confirming all the launch classes. Let's go from left to right all the way down. Got Barbarian, already had Berserker and Wildheart. Wild Magic is a really fun Barbarian subclass. You rage, something random happens that sticks with you during that rage. It's a really fun subclass. I'm happy to see it here. Druid gets Land, Moon, and Spores. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the whole lot about Spores subclass, but if I remember correctly, it was pretty fun. Fighter is going to get Battlemaster and Eldritch Knight. Already had those. Eldritch Knight's a lot of fun. Champion is the last subclass for Fighter. They've taken some creative liberties with subclasses in this game before compared to D&D proper from the player's handbook. I hope they do some changing to the champion, because the champion as written in actual D&D, it's kind of boring. I mean, it's not necessarily ineffective, I wouldn't say. You can make an effective champion fighter, but they're just not that exciting. So I hope they do some stuff to spice them up. Ranger's mad interesting here. When I skimmed through this earlier, Ranger's getting Hunter and Beastmaster. already in the Player's Handbook. I actually think Player's Handbook Ranger only had 2 subclasses, so to beef that up, they gave them Gloomstalker from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Now, Beastmaster in Baldur's Gate 3 does function more so like the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything Beastmaster as opposed to Player's Handbook, but the Gloomstalker from Xanathar's Guide to Everything, for those of you that aren't familiar with D&D but are familiar with Baldur's Gate 3, Gloomstalker is a beloved, a fan-loved subclass. It's very strong, often considered like overpowered at times, but it's mad fun. They get a lot of cool tricks, a lot of cool stuff to do. This is going to be absolute blast in this game. They're going to be hard-hitting, and they're gonna be going first a lot in combat, and with that first attack in combat, they're gonna hit really hard is kind of what I'll say about them. For the rogue, arcane, trickster, and thief, we already had assassin. What an assassin is in D&D and Baldur's Gate 3 is what it's gonna be what you think it is. Oh, hold on, I got this little flickering light here. Let's turn that guy off. Let's just get rid of you there, buddy. But yeah, so assassin is gonna be essentially what you think it's gonna be, right? And then you have it's gonna deal a lot of damage. So for sorcerer, you got wild magic, draconic bloodline, and storm sorcery. So wild magic and draconic bloodline have already been really cool, you know what I'm saying? But storm sorcery is pretty interesting, actually. Storm sorcery, I can't recall exactly what their subclass features are, but I know they get some pretty cool stuff. I think they can cast a spell and then move away. That like the first thing they get is they can move away after casting a spell without provoking an opportunity attack. So storm sorcerers, kind of fitting that theme, are really mobile. Now, bards are interesting. Bards, most of the subclasses they get are actually going to be geared towards being a caster that can also fight in close quarters combat, which is really interesting. So you got the Lord Bard, which you already had. You got your Valor Bard, already had, but the Valor Bard is going to be also geared towards fighting up close, but so is obviously the Swords Bard. I don't remember exactly how the Sword and the Valor Bard differ, but I know it's enough to make them distinct. You got all the monk stuff, we already been through that. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. My Warlock. Yes, Warlock is my favorite class, in case y'all weren't aware, right? We've already had Fiend and Great Old One. Last subclass revealed from the Player's Handbook is going to be the Archfey Warlock Patron, right? Now, me personally, my favorite, at least one of my favorite Warlock subclasses is the Hexblade, so I am a little bit saddened to not see them here. I was hoping we would. I knew it was a stretch. I knew it was kind of a long shot, but I was still hoping we would see Hexblade. Doesn't look like we're going to see them. However, with the recent 1 D&D playtest for Unearthed Arcana and the fact that Pact of the Blade, which is one of the Warlock packs you can pick as part of your class, Pact of the Blade has been absent from early access. So what I think and hope is going to happen is they will roll in some of the features from Hexblade Warlock into Pact of the Blade, meaning that Warlocks will be able to do weapon attacks with their charisma stat instead of dexterity or strength, just like Hexblade does. If that ends up being the case, I'm cool with it. Either way, I'm still going to play a Pact of the Blade Warlock with one of these subclasses, and it's going to be tons of fun either way. So Paladin got Ancients, Devotion, Oathbreaker was already in there, and Vengeance. Ooh, Vengeance is going to be a really fun to play from a theme perspective subclass. I don't recall what they get as far as features are concerned, but I know the flavor of a Vengeance Paladin is just really dope. You're a Paladin that swore an oath to get vengeance against a thing, entity, someone. So that's going to be really fun to play with. Cleric's getting love with subclasses, all right? We only had 3 before. We had Life, Light, and Trickery, but look at all these domains they're getting. Knowledge, Nature, Tempest, and War. They're going to have subclass features that are in line with the theme of how they're named, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. I know the War Cleric is really fun if you want to play a cleric that can also fight effectively up close. Wizards they had Abjuration and Evocation before. Man, Wizards always get the love, bro. Look at this. Look at how much love. They get 6 new subclasses. I mean, it's all Player's Handbook stuff, but still, come on, man. So Wizards are getting Conjuration, Divination, Enchantment, Necromancy, Illusion, and Transmutation. Those are basically going to be how they sound in your head. Divination is a wizard that's really good at divining truths through their magic and stuff like that. Illusion wizards are going to be great at creating illusions, etc., etc. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the class roster that we ended up with. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty happy with it. Again, my only wish for all this really was getting that Hexblade Warlock. But again, if Pact of the Blade ends up kind of having a little bit of it, I'm not going to complain. Wild Magic, I think, is very fun. I'm happy with that. I was hoping for Wildfire Druid, but, you know, it is what it is. Gloomstalker is awesome. I hope they do some changes to champion. Storm Sorcery is decent. Was hoping for Shadow Sorcerer, but Storm Sorcery is still pretty good. And yeah, overall, it's a pretty good spread. Now, let's see. Meet your companions for the journey ahead. Whether exploring the streets of Baldur's Gate from the perspective of a vampire spawn, or that's, you know, I'm saying that we know who that is, or investigating the driving force behind Gale's strange urges. Each origin character brings their distinct personality and, you know, background story to the game. With the addition of Karlach, oh, that's a tiefling. I think she's going to be a hunter, a berserker that we find. Our number of origin characters now rises to 6. So she's an origin character, not just a companion. She will join Astarion, Gale, Shadowheart, Lae'zel, and Will, like a well-meaning devil fighting bat out of hell, rounding out the moral spectrum of playable characters from good to bad and the shades of gray between. But she won't be our final origin. Ooh, we're getting another origin character. You'll have to tune into next week's Panel from Hell reveal showcase. We're getting one more origin character. Oh, snap. I'm hyped for this. Okay. Along with your origins, you can also expect to find 4 companion characters who can join you on your journey. Hausen, we have a little guest here. Hello, buddy. Hausen, Jahaira, Minsk, and I can't read that last name because my cat's in the way, Minthara. While we initially planned to lock players in with a core crew of companions past Act 1, we nicked that plan in favor of a buffet approach to your team selection. I like that. You'll be able to mix and match any of these characters into your group throughout, and yes, you'll be able to romance almost all of them. Ask us sometime about that Halsin scene. So we got some new romance confirmed. Hell yeah. From the Fires of Avernus, Karlach joins the party as a new playable character, so you can play her now. Wow, she's looking buff. She is looking great. Look at that. Look at that girl right there. Yeah. After brawling her way out of the scorched battlefields of the Blood Ward, Karlach now joins your party. Longtime players will recognize her as a tiefling barbarian. So she's a barbarian from early access. But come launch, you'll be able to unlock her full story. Hell yeah. That red glowing mark on the chest is crazy. Her history is written across her body in scars, burns, and tattoos. The indelible marks of a legendary warrior. After finally escaping the endless war between devils and demons, she's determined to live her life to the fullest, or leave as much as she can, given the unholy machine pumping hellish fire pumping through her veins. This little present from the archdevil she served makes her a beast in battle, but if she gets too worked up, she'll destroy anything that she touches, including you. Interesting. In the words of writer Sarah Bayless, in a 2023 setting, Karlach would roll in on a Harley with shades and a cigar between her teeth, blaring Sabbath, a diesel-soaked dynamo with a heart of gold. She seeks justice for the oppressed, camaraderie, and revenge on the bastard who sold her to hell. Interesting. Ooh, so we got a bunch of new feats. This is interesting. Let's take a look at all these new feats again. Actors is decent. Alert is going to be interesting in the confines of BG3. Charger, crossbow expert, dungeon delver, durable, elemental adept, heavy armor master. Ooh, Lucky is getting added. Hell yeah, Lucky's going to be really dope. Lucky, Maid Slayer, medium armor master, observant, performer. Polearm Master is going to be really fun for people's builds. Ritual Caster, dope. Savage Attacker. Sentinel. Yes, Sentinel is going to be amazing for those up-close fighters. Sharpshooter, Spell Sniper, Tavern Brawler, and Warcaster. Let's take a look at the new spells coming in 1.0. Baldur's Gate 3. What? Baldur's Gate 3 will have over 600 player spells and sub-spells at launch, and that doesn't include upcasting. Holy good gracious, man. 600 spells. All right. I think they mentioned that earlier as well, but still. We got new spells coming. Banishing Smite, Dispel Evil and Good. I won't read all these, but let's look at some of the standouts. To me, we got Cold of Cold is going to be really fun. Blade Barrier, Chain Lightning, Wall of Fire, Heal, Hold Monster, of course. Ice Knife is coming. Hell yeah. Ice Knife, I really like. Conjure, Elemental. Let's go. I love summoning spells. I'm wondering, I think that's everything. I was hoping So this isn't everything. This is just some of them, but I am really hoping for a lot of summon spells, specifically some of the ones we saw in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. I really want, you know, my summon Shadow Spawn and all that cool stuff. Summon Undead, summon Fae, or Conjure Fae, I can't remember what it's called. But I'm really hoping we get a lot of those summon spells, but we'll see. Illusion spells, they've only showed Seeming. Necromancy spells is cool. Create Undead, Harm, Telekinesis, Lightning Arrow, lots of really cool stuff. Difficulty levels, this was interesting to me. I want to see what this is about. So in D&D, picking the right DM is key to defining the kind of journey you want to embark on. In Baldur's Gate 3, we've created 3 modes of play that essentially act as different types of DM: the forgiving, the narrative DM, or the DM that isn't afraid to let you die if your glass cannon wizard decides to tickle that owlbear sweet. So at launch, in addition to normal mode, which is default, players may avail the following. In story mode, combat has been made more forgiving, so players can just immerse themselves in the narrative layer of the adventure. In this mode, friendly NPCs are harder to kill. Cool. Trading prices are at a 20% discount, and you'll begin the game with a +2 starting proficiency bonus. So I think that means your proficiency bonus is +2 anyway, so it's going to be an additional +2 on top of that. In hardcore mode, let's see, then is where you test your mettle. In this mode, enemy lethality is cranked up to brutal, ensuring that enemy AI are stronger. We'll prioritize squishier targets with lower AC, and we'll seize opportunities to go in for the kill. Additionally, many adjustments have been made to the fights themselves specifically for hardcore mode, with certain enemies receiving additional support through reinforcements, spells, or consumable items. Am I gonna play this on hardcore mode? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. And then it just talks about a truly global release. There's a lot of words here. They have a team of over 200 strong for just in general for translation. So the 13 languages we're getting: English, French, German, Polish, Russian, multiple Chinese, multiple Spanishes, Turkish, Brazilian, Italian, and Ukrainian. Okay, collector's edition. I've already copped this. I'm not going to go with the detail. And that's everything. 35 days to launch, people. 35 days to launch. I've been looking at a countdown to Baldur's Gate website for like at least once a week. I'll check that thing just to conceptualize the wait. And to think that thing's been cut by 28 days. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Larian, y'all are absolutely mad, but I trust you guys. I know that if y'all were putting this game out, you know what I'm saying, that y'all would do so knowing it's ready. So let's see, actually, hold on a second. And they mentioned the 72-hour period prior to launch and all that stuff. PlayStation 5, ensure you're ready. You'll have, okay, so there's also going to be a deluxe 72-hour early access period for PlayStation 5 owners as well. Yeah. That was a hell of a community update. Look at everything we got. We got to look at some of the spells, man. We got some awesome new smites: Blinding Smite, Staggering Smite, Flame Strike. Lots of cool stuff here. Conjure Elemental, Conjure Barrage. Lots of spells that I've already kind of had implemented in my game from mods. I'm glad to see them make their way in here. 600 spells. I don't even think the player handbook has 600 spells. I think like added like afterwards with supplements like from Tasha, Xanathar's, we ended up past 600, but I don't think initially there was 600 spells in the player's handbook. I could be wrong. So to see that, that's crazy, yo. We got the new feats, and at launch you'll have 37 possible feats. So I think if you combine this with what's already in the game, then yeah, I think that's everything for feats. I'm hoping we'll get some more obviously through mods. Karlach looks bad. She looks amazing. Look at her arms, dude. She ain't messing around. Karlach looks amazing. Overall, I'm really hyped for this. I'm really excited to see. I'm definitely going to react on that panel for Hell. I want to see who that last origin character is. I'm sure we're going to get new art with all the origin characters in it now. It's going to be sick, man. This community update, you can see it's putting a big smile on my face. I'm like a kid in the candy store with all this. I hope y'all enjoyed some of my initial reactions to all this stuff, going through it here with all of you guys. Again, I didn't want to get too analytical. I'm not that channel that's going to put up an hour-long video detailing detailing what each feat does for you. They're all listed here. Again, if you have access to D&D material, I would suggest searching for it, finding it, and researching some of this stuff yourself. Take the name of this feat, kind of associate, okay, it's gonna do kind of what it says it does, and just look at it in detail, right? But overall, this was a banging community update and a hell of a way to wake up. I woke up at like 10 this morning, and this was the first thing I saw when I first checked my phone, and I'm glad I did. This was absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to get this game earlier. I'm so excited to have more time with this game and a bigger gap between this and Starfield. And let's see, y'all, if this is gonna be my game of the year. And like I thought, what I think the best RPG of all time, potentially. I think it might potentially be the best RPG created of all time. Let's see if it gets that title. August 3rd for us PC players, y'all. Hey, man, my name is Mr. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, man. Be sure to comment below and let me know what you thought of this community update. Are you worried, you know what I'm saying, about the earlier release date? Do you think it's going to be fine, kind of like I do? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what your reactions to some of the stuff is. Classes, subclasses, spells, features, all that other stuff. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, I'm going to catch you on the next one. Y'all be easy, man. Peace.